Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am in Paris right now, and as you guys know, there are a ton of things to do in Paris. The Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the Orsay. But there are actually almost 140 museums in Paris, and some of them are very small, very niche, and very impressive. And today we are going to see one of those museums. It's actually right behind me. It's the Conservatoire National des Arts et Métiers, or the Museum of Art and Métiers, which is basically the Arts and Crafts Museum. And it is the oldest technical and industrial design museum in the world. And what I'm really excited about this museum is inside there's this airplane that I really want to see. Louis Blériot's airplane. He was the first person to fly across the English Channel from Calais to Dover in 1909, and his airplane is inside. Louis Blériot was a French aviator, inventor, and engineer born in 1872. He received his degree in engineering from the prestigious École Centrale Paris and was initially interested in the brand new but rapidly growing automobile industry. In fact, Blériot invented the world's first practical car headlamp using a system that quickly became a massive commercial success across Europe, and he used his success in the automobile industry to begin funding his own interest in airplanes. Now, since Paris was going through an insane heat wave, and it appears neither the conservatory nor most of the museum had much in the way of air conditioning, some of the museum was sadly closed off to me. But I did get to see a few exhibits and an airplane that was hugely influential in Louis Blériot's journey across the English Channel. It is said Bleriot first became interested in aviation during the 1900 Paris Exposition, where he saw the Aviation III by Clement Ader, which Ader claimed flew about 100 meters or about 300 feet in 1897. And this aircraft is housed in the museum and was open to me, just barely. So apparently the museum, it is so hot today that part of the museum is closed. So I can't really go all the way up to see the plane. This is the best I can do. So take a look, guys. Look at that. It's a bat. Equipped with two separate 30 horsepower lightweight steam engines driving two four-bladed bamboo propellers, the Avion 3 featured a 48-foot wingspan, a rear rudder, and articulated wing sections meant to change the center of lift. Now, official French military records stated that this plane never actually flew, but it is gorgeous, and it is not hard to imagine how something like this could hypnotize a young Blériot. It's amazing. So amazing. But getting back to Blériot, now by 1903, Orville and Wilbur Wright have achieved their landmark flight at Kitty Hawk, and Blériot was all in on yet another brand new industry, aviation. Between 1900 and 1908, he designed Blériot models numbered 1 through 8, most of which resulted in catastrophic crashes. The French press and public routinely mocked him as the king of crashes or a madman. He had broken bones and burned himself, yet Blériot learned from every shattered airframe. Crucially, he pioneered the combination of a hand-operated joystick and foot-operated rudder control, the fundamental aerodynamic control architecture still utilized in modern aircraft today. In 1909, London's Daily Mail newspaper, recognizing the immense future of aviation and looking for a way to capture the public's imagination, offered a lucrative £1,000 prize, worth over £150,000 today, to the first pilot who could successfully cross the English Channel. Now, others had tried previously to no success, and Blériot was currently on model number 11 for this flight, a nimble mid-wing monoplane. Constructed out of lightweight ashwood and spruce, its wings were made of rubberized linen canvas held taut by piano wire. For banking and lateral balance, the plane relied on wing warping, physically twisting the wing's tips via control cables. It had a 25 horsepower three cylinder air cooled radial engine, and while it was incredibly light, it was notoriously prone to overheating after only 20 to 30 minutes of continuous operation, which was about as long as Blériot thought the flight would take. Also, at the time, Blériot was in terrible physical pain. He had suffered severe burns on his foot from a recent engine oil leak and could only walk with the aid of crutches. That morning, his wife Alicia, afraid of the sea, even begged him not to fly. However, at 4:30 a.m. on July 25th, 1909, as the sun began to rise, Blériot cast his crutches aside and climbed into the open cockpit. The Blériot XI rattled down the grassy dunes near Calais and lifted into the air. Blériot carried no compass, no radio, no clock, and no life jacket. His only safety net was the French destroyer Escopette, which steamed below him to provide a rough line of navigation toward England. But flying at about 45 miles per hour at an altitude of 250 feet, after about 10 minutes he outpaced the Escopette. Then the visibility deteriorated, and he later said, "For more than 10 minutes I was alone, isolated, lost in the midst of the immense sea, and I did not see anything on the horizon or a single ship." However, eventually the gray line of the English coast came into sight on his left. The wind had increased and had blown him to the east of his intended course. So, altering course, he followed the line of the coast until he spotted Charles Fontaine, the correspondent from the French newspaper Le Matin, waving a large French flag as a signal in a field near Dover. Once over land, Blériot circled twice to lose height and cut his engine at an altitude of about 20 meters or 66 feet and made a heavy pancake landing due to the dusty wind conditions. The undercarriage was damaged and one blade of the propeller was shattered, but Blériot was unhurt. The flight had taken 36 minutes and 30 seconds. The global reaction to Blériot's landing was immediate and euphoric. The Times of London stated, "England is no longer an island." He was heralded as a universal hero on both sides of the Channel, greeted by a crowd of over 100,000 people upon his triumphant return to Paris, and orders for the Blériot XI flooded in from all over the world, transforming his struggling aviation business into an overnight industrial success that produced hundreds of aircraft. And the Blériot XI now lives at the Musée des Arts et Métiers in Paris, which I can only show you with these photos again, sadly, but you can see for yourself if you are ever in Paris and there's not an insane heat wave. This museum also has a ton of incredible exhibits and historic artifacts from aviation history, some of which looked awfully familiar. This thing above my head looks like a 19th century Ingenuity on Mars. Louis Blériot eventually retired from piloting and dedicated the remainder of his life to aircraft design, military production, and establishing international flying schools. When he passed away in 1936, he was buried with full military honors as a founding father of modern aviation. His historic 1909 flight proved to a skeptical world that airplanes were not expensive toys, but a transformative force capable of bridging continents and redefining human civilization. Okay, that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, I will see you in the next video.